Streaming cyberspace into your place, sanctioned by the Red Light Racing League from Lanier Speedway. It's the Virtual Grip Network's Live as It Happens final round coverage of the Skitter Creek Modified Series Season 15. Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. No, it wasn't the airplanes, it was beauty that killed the beast. Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. Yes, viewers, there is nothing more satisfying than a great ending line. And tonight, we will get just that. But how that line will read, well, it's yet to be determined. Could the line address a four-time champion, one Dalton Williamson, who had stepped away from the series thinking there was nothing more to achieve, thinking his legacy was safe, only to have recency bias force his return, a comeback, if you will, to engrave ever deeper his mark on this series? Or will that final line address the three-time and defending champ Eric Stout, who, with yet another title, will effectively take a sandblaster to the historical slate of this series? The race ahead is not just about the now, but also about history and the future. Who was, who is, and who will be remembered as the greatest racer this series has ever seen. So pull the lever on the lazy boy and settle in for the legend-defining excitement that is simulated it's SK Modifieds tonight at Lanier. From the state, that old sweet song kept on the mind of Ray Charles. A warm Georgian hello and welcome on this Thursday. It's May 21st, 2026. The institution, J.R. Shepard, joins yours truly, Bill Stoops, on hype in the VGN press box to bring you our words eye view. And of course, Lowell Jewell, turning the knobs and pushing the sliders, making everything we see and talk about able for you to see. With that said, partner, what do you know about tonight?
Well, Soup, I can tell you that tonight is going to be tough for these drivers. Lanier is a track that has long, sweeping corners and short straights. That means that tonight these drivers will be turning left almost the entire time around this place. That alone can cause you to feel a little bit fatigued, might even cause you to get a cramp sitting in that sim rig. But more importantly, this place is very mentally exhausting. The main reason is what I just spoke about a second ago. You're constantly turning left, but on top of that, you will be nose to tail with your competitors out there. One small mistake could lead to contact from the car behind and effectively end your season. But the good news is that these modifieds, they are extremely fun to drive around here. They make a lot of grip and there will be a lot of on throttle time, which means it will be hard to pass. So I think track position will be a topic that we talk about here in just a few minutes. Soup, if you want a shot to win the last race of the season, I feel like you got to have a good qualifying show here and starting at the front.
Partner, I'm going to throw you a curveball. Let's take this race from the perspective of the points leader, Dalton Williamson, who really doesn't need to win. All he really needs to do is avoid disaster. As far as that goes, if you were looking for a track where you didn't want something bad to happen to you, would this be the kind of place, or kind of maybe not top of your list for a race of that situation?
Yeah, this is not a track that I would want to go to where I have to be conservative or avoid contact. This
Got it.
is a bull ring. It is a local short track. It's what makes it so enjoyable for the fans is because we like to see drivers get up on the wheel, make a little bit of contact and race hard. But if you're a driver like Dalton, that's not the kind of night you want. He's going to want to try to find a hole that he can get into early and ride a little bit.
Well, let's go ahead to emphasize that point. Let's go ahead and look at the points here. And you can see that Williamson has a substantial lead. Now, the good news for Dalton is it's a smaller field. So even if disaster were hit, finishing last in a field of 16, I'm going to put on my Captain Obvious cap here, is certainly not as bad as finishing in a last in a field of 24 or 25. But that said, there are bonus points available. So mathematically, Eric Stout still has a chance to pick up this championship because you get points for leading laps and 3 points for winning a race. So he is still in the hunt. You can see the rest of the drivers. I think we should give a shout out to the man with the nickname, always there, Fred Leclerc. He is probably the most under the radar driver. If he didn't have that nickname, you really wouldn't notice him. Look at him sitting in third up there in the points. That's what he does. You can see Ethan Thompson behind him, Troutman behind him, and then, of course, former champ, season 12 champ Jeff Aho down there in fifth, and the rest of the guys. Maybe the passing of the torch going to Kid Lemon Lime, Luke Logan Allen down there in sixth. It will be fun. I'm glad you are with us here. I speak for the whole VGN group when I say we are glad that you are with us. JR, we're going a little farther tonight, right?
Absolutely. We're doing 150 laps tonight instead of the normal 100 laps that we would do on one of these short tracks. So, going to be a little more strenuous. The good news is you can see that sun starting to set. So, that track temp's starting to come down. You're going to have a lot of grip out there. It is definitely going to make it visually easy for these drivers to see because I can tell you a few minutes ago when they were qualifying, that sun was glaring down into turn one and almost made it look like a sheet of ice. So it made it very hard to differentiate where that racing line is. That's not going to be the case here in a few minutes.
Nothing prettier than a sunset in the Peach State, but with that said, the sun has, well, Titanic to below the horizon now, and we're going to get this race. I'll have to turn on the lights. Beautiful night to go racing. Qualifying is done. I don't think we can go quite to the grid yet. Usual fare, we're going a little farther, but they can get in for tires, and I can see the lights are actually on the pace car there as the perfectly mesmerizing Josie Kirkland thinks it's best that she flicked the switch there. They're lining up behind her, so let's go ahead and give you the starting grid right now. And it is an impressive front row. This hotshot rookie, maybe the future of this series if he sticks with it, Hayden Austin up there in front. He's fast. Can he be fast both in the beginning of the race and at the end of the race is the question. Three-time and defending champion Eric Stout sitting there in second with hopes of a fourth championship tonight if all goes his way. Partner?
Yeah, rolling off inside row two, we've got Josh Buckley in that 13 car and Patrick Stout rolling off in fourth in that 24 car.
In the number one, an appropriate number for Dalton Williamson. His goal, of course, is always to win, but he really just needs to have a decent points night, and he should be in good shape. Outside of him, it's going to be Chad Akaris in sixth.
Rolling off in seventh place, we got Bradley Steffen, and now on the outside in eighth, Jeff Lanier.
3 seasons ago, he was the champion. We're talking about Jeff Aho, his nickname of Uh-oh. Well, he hopes to shed that one tonight. He's going to try to stay out of trouble. Kevin Alicia will be starting in 10th.
Rolling off inside row six, a driver that did lead a few laps a little while ago, a couple of races ago, I guess. Mark Poe roll off in 11th, and on the outside in 12th place will be Bill Benedict.
A man who's trying to shed his moniker, Mr. Aggressive, Chris Davis. We're thinking new names for him. Mr. Manners. Always be kind. We're not sure where it's going to fall, but Chris Davis will be starting the Baker's Dozen spot. He's flanked by Jeffrey Sousa.
And last row on the grid tonight, rolling off in 15th place will be Ricardo Cano. And in 16th place, Brian Bianchi. That's a driver that can get it done on the short tracks. Be fun to watch him come through the field.
Indeed, I was surprised to see Brian so far back, all ribbons and curls in the 16th position. Well, folks, we've gone 17 rounds, actually 18 races, as one of the races was a doubleheader. So this is really the 19th race, the 18th different venue. And we're going to put an exclamation point on the series tonight. The pace car is in. Gather up the chickens. Take cover of the cows, because the horses are out of the barn. Hayden Austin has that reputation of being fast early. He's got Stout to the outside. Inside line prevails. Let's see if Stout is going to surrender Casper. He does indeed. He tucks down into second. Back behind him, Granny Hips, Josh Buckley racing in third. Let me in, says Patrick Stout, baby brother of Eric. He's stuck out there. No room at the end. 3 wide. This is not what you want to do. And Dalton Williams says, oh no, I won't want any part of this. He backs out of it.
No, and a very smart decision. 3 wide will not work. We see up front a pass for the lead just happened, and I was just about to touch on it. So some of these drivers are overdriving the center of the corner. We talked about track conditions. They've changed from practice and qualifying to where we are under the lights now. track temp coming down, these cars are handling a little bit different, and some of these drivers are pushing wide coming out of the corners.
So, Teapot to the front. Austin now in second. That may be a little bit of experience there from Hayden Austin's part, saying, I don't need to race so hard early. I think the early career of Hayden Austin, he might have fought a little harder. Look at this. Another Stout found his way in. As it is the outside line work for Patrick Stout as he rolls around both Josh Buckley and Dalton Williamson, who abandoned that 3-wide position. First 2 wide. Director, let's go back. It's the Raven, Mark Poe. He's working side by side with Chris Davis.
Yeah, close quarters there, and you can see right behind them is Brian Bianchi. He's already through the field. Yeah, 89 round.
Bradley Steffen loops it around. I don't think it did bring out the caution. Boy, he barely got it perpendicular with the track. Oh. It was Jeff Aho. Maybe gave him a little bit of help.
Yeah, watching the replay. Oh, actually, Jeff had some room there, but this is going back to that handling condition. The handling condition changing a little bit, and we see Ricardo Cano spin there afterwards, just trying to avoid making further contact. But Bradley Steffen just getting on the throttle a little too hard through the center of the corner, and rear end steps out on him there. Here's a view from above Ricardo Cano.
It looks like he just didn't have any help. That might have just been him on his own. That's why we take a second look at it. Maybe a little bit off the throttle. One thing we talked about, JR, before we went live is even though we're going a few extra laps here at Lanier, the pace laps seem to be quick. The racing seems to, the broadcasts are quick here at Lanier.
Absolutely. It's odd. I've never looked into the details. The pace car looks like it's at a normal speed, but yeah, the races always seem to click by fast. Lap times are super fast. They're 13 seconds when we're under green. So even under caution, we are nowhere near what a regular lap time would be. So the laps do go by fast, and you do notice that as a driver, and it does make you anxious at times behind the wheel. You feel like you need to get moving faster than you normally would.
We'll try to get in a caution flag interview next time around. The lights come off the pace car as Josie Kirkland, for the final time this season, will lead the field around here. We're working lap number 13, 14 when we go green. All right, stuck on the outside is Hayden Austin. Big movers. Chris Davis up 6 spots. 7 for Brian Bianchi. We talked about it. Brian with that horrible start in the back. Okay, we're racing. Sorry. We're back under green. Eric Stout out in front.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Hayden, he's kind of stuck up in that outside lane. You see Dalton trying to make that move for 3rd place. The one thing you do not want to do here at Lanier is get stuck on that outside lap after lap. You can make it work for a couple of laps. You may be able to make a pass out there if you hold the inside driver pretty tight, but it is not going to be the place that has grip long term. You want to get down that inside lane, and you see Hayden do that.
They're lined up. Chris Davis, again, the big mover, up 8 spots, now into 5th. Well, I'll tell you a little story. When Patrick Stout was 8 years old, he spent hours and hours working on his Lego build of the Statue of Liberty. And he was just putting the final piece on the torch when his big brother came in, and as big brothers sometimes do, stepped on the Statue of Liberty, broke the thing into pieces. That has been on Patrick's mind for decades. And right now he trails his big brother. Whoop, and we have another caution.
Got Jeff Lemire trying to get turned back around so he doesn't go a lap down. You see Bradley Steffen there running right behind him on the replay. They go into turn 1. And yeah, that's a little bit of incidental contact, and one of the things was Jeff Lemire was running about a lane higher through the corner, and Bradley Steffen was taking more of the normal line, and the two come together. There's just so much more grip down there at the bottom that it just was not something that Steffen could check up on.
So we get to a second caution. Looking through the list to see who is available to talk to. It's always good to talk to Bill Eggs Benedict. Let's go ahead and talk to him right now. Up a few spots. Bill, how's it feeling out there?
It's not too bad. Car's got good balance, I think. Just trying to make progress and stay clean.
Partner?
Yeah, so Bill, question for you here. Don't know if you even know at this point, but obviously got an extra set of tires in the pits. It's a little bit cooler out there. You have any plans to take those tires at some point, then go all the way?
If the caution comes at the right time, probably will. Yeah, I tend to like to take the tires.
All right, they're doubling up. Go get them.
Thank you, guys.
Jeffrey Sousa, the only driver to come in. Not sure if he actually took tires. He might have just come in for some repairs. We go racing again. Working lap number 25. Okay. Little brother Patrick now stuck on the outside, and as the racing gods often do, they put the drama up front. We have 7 championships spread over the top 2 positions. 3 for Stout, 4 for Williamson. And someone's going to pick up another one tonight. One of those 2.
Yeah, you can see from this restart, it's kind of changed the running order a little bit. Dalton's been able to get into a great window in second place. He's got a gap a little bit to the front so he can roll the speed he wants to roll, and he's got room behind so he doesn't have to worry about anybody making contact. But having said that, you see Chris Davis taking over that 3rd spot. Might not be who Dalton wants to mess with if he's able to get there.
Oh, no, he's turned over a new leaf. He is Mr. Manners. We're still working on that nickname, but the 07. He certainly has worked hard, up 10 spots. Now, we talked about it, JR, when we started, when we were calling the grid. When we got down to that 16th position, we said, oh, what's Brian Bianchi doing down there? And you picked it up as well. Well, he's coming up 11 spots.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, if you asked him, I don't think he would have predicted he would be this high up this early. But we definitely expected him to be up here fighting with that lead bunch. And he's in a great place. And I will say, this is a long enough race. I talked about that inside line, how good it is, and that's where you want to be, especially on restarts. Bianchi's in that 5th position. I don't know if he's going to be too aggressive right now. He's probably going to ride it out and see how things go, but you do not want to get caught in that outside lane on restarts. It just never seems to roll quick.
And he's a driver with the chops to race with the top guys, especially if the caution flies right and he gets a fresh set of rubber. We got another one out there. This one is Kevin Alicia.
Yeah, kind of saw this one in the background. I believe Bradley Steffen, I think, was behind Alicia there. This is some of the aftermath. You see the 57 going around trying to avoid that. But right there, and that's just it's contact through the center of the corner. It looks like it's aggressive, but we've talked about it all season long. These cars are difficult to see. If a car gets offset from you in the corners, you got that big air cleaner in front of you. It's very hard to judge sometimes just how close you are. And it looked like Stefan had definitely throttled up, but probably didn't know he was that close or expected the checkup from that outside.
Well, page 17 of the VGN's commentator's handbook forbids talking to a driver on a caution flag that was this involved in the incident, but Bradley Steffen's a gentleman. He can handle it. Bradley, how you doing?
Apparently I'm a weapon and I just keep hitting people.
Partner?
Yeah, talk to us, Bradley, about how the track conditions are. Are things feeling pretty good handling-wise, or is it something that's still a struggle? I mean, it's much different than what it was.
I'm doing great. The track's good for me. The car's still good. It's nice and tacky. It's just I'm catching up to people and like mid-corner, all of a sudden they're braking. I don't know what's going on. I'm just slamming into guys. It's very unintentional. It just keeps happening. It's
okay. Going green. Be careful, buddy. Go get him.
Yeah.
Sorry, we chopped him off there, but It also says in bold print on that same commentator's handbook, same page, don't talk to him while they're racing under green. Oh no, we got another one.
Yeah, and, for Bradley's sake, he was not involved in this one at all, but it happened right around him, so he did a good job avoiding it. Not sure what caused it, but definitely some contact through the center of the corner. We see here Bianchi on the inside of Jeff Ahu, and yeah, there's Hayden Austin just coming in. A little too much steam. It's kind of like what Bradley said. I think a lot of the drivers are not anticipating the grip level more than anything through the center of the corner, and it's leading to some contact. Some drivers are overdriving it, some are underdriving it, and it's just creating a lot of this contact that we're seeing.
Then the last on the scene there was Mark Poe, as he had nowhere to go.
Yeah, and as violent as that looked, I think all of the drivers are going to be able to get away with minimal damage. I don't think it's going to be something at this racetrack that's going to affect their speed.
Let's talk to series organizer, my partner on Monday nights, Josh Granny Hips Buckley. Josh, I think everyone taking out all their vengeance here at the end of the season. They're doubling up. I don't want to keep you, but how you doing?
Not too bad, just trying to stay on the bottom. Being on that outside for a restart really killed me, so see what we can do here.
JR?
Yeah, it's been a tough night. You looking to just kind of, lay back a little bit, or you going to get in there and mix it up?
I'm going to take what I can get right here. We'll see.
All right.
All right, we'll see how we do. Boy, it's hard to get in these interviews. We show the replay, and by the time we talk to the drivers, like we talked about, they're ready to go green. Pace car's in. Here we go. All right, Williamson on the outside, Stout on the inside. The man who has been on the move, Davis. Let's see how hard Chris forces the issue. Let's see if he can get to the tail of Stout and keep Dalton Williamson pinned to the outside.
Yeah, you're going to see Dalton race really hard with Stout. I think he's going to lose that ground through 1 and 2, but now he's going to have to be cautious. And the one thing that I always hated being a championship leader, you see some contact there, is that when you're the championship leader, guys know it, and they will put you in bad positions. So you have to anticipate that. You got to do a lot of giving at that point.
A lot of stories to talk about up front. Stuck on the outside, little brother, Patrick Stout, and there's the 14. He's feeling a little sheepish being there, Brian Bianchi, but working his way up. Doing great.
Yeah, continuing to make ground, and it's all about, as long as we continue to get cautions, it's going to be a lot about who's on that inside lane. It is the preferred place around. It still doesn't mean it's easy to make a pass, but that's where you want to be. You do not want to get stuck on that outside lane lap after lap like we're seeing with Patrick Stout here. And one of the reasons is eventually that inside guy is going to lose a little bit of grip or patience, and they're going to start to slide up into you. But Patrick's doing a pretty nice job here. He's one of the few that we've seen make that outside line work, but he's got to get the pass done before that right front tire starts to overheat.
Little advice, if you're on a VGN broadcast and you want to have some success, make yourself available for a caution flag interview. Let's talk about Bill Eggs Benedict. We talked to him, and man, he's making his way through the field. Although he has a very aggressive channel cars behind him, don't be surprised if the 17 gets into the 90 of Benedict. They are racing really hard because they're both stuck behind that two-wide battle. Finally, Stout gets a good drive off of 2, and I think he's finally going to secure that spot in front of Bianchi. You're clear. I'll spot for you.
Yeah, and I think Bill Benedict's going to try to follow Patrick Stout through there. And you look up front, it looks like Dalton Williamson's trying to make that pass back on Chris Davis to get second place, but I don't know that Chris was done.
Teapot has pulled away. Dalton now in second. We got another caution. Oh, this is Benedict. Eggs he got scrambled here, and yeah, it was. Sometimes you do enough of these, you can just sense something happen, and sure enough, Alcaraz got in the back of Benedict.
Hey,
Hey.
sorry, Sue, but I did see Bradley Steffen come down pit road there. I think he's going to be the only one, and this may be an opportunity where he is indeed taking right side tires. This is a nice time to do it. About 90 laps to go when we go back green. You could most definitely do that at Lanier. That is easy to do. So if those other drivers decide to pit at some point, he's going to leapfrog them.
He did indeed. And now, JR, this is something that it baffles me, but you've talked about it before. I'm going to ask you because it's such a good stat. Bradley had the opportunity to take 4 tires. He had all the time in the world. He only took 2. And you've told me that sometimes the car handles better with older rubber on the left side. How? Explain it to me again.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of drivers or newcomers to racing in general or the sport in sim racing don't understand. But basically, when you've got the fresher rubber, the cooler tires on that outside, they will grip better. It allows the car to rotate. So if you've got a car that's a little bit snug or a little bit tight through the center of the corner, taking only right side tires will allow that car to rotate and turn. So you can essentially have a better turning car.
Stuff I learned from working with you. Here we go. We're going to try this one more time. All right. Patrick, I'm sorry. Dalton Williamson continues to have to fight his way down to the inside with consecutive outside restarts, but he gets it done better this time. Now his little brother's back on the outside. Davis running in third. And those new tires, how are they doing? Well, they're back a little farther back there.
Yeah, and if I'm Bradley, I'm not going to be in any hurry to come through the field. I'm probably going to give myself some room to avoid some carnage, and I'm going to save those tires and run as slow as I can. I'm hoping that in about 50 laps, these other guys, if a caution comes out, these other guys decide to pit, and I'm going to stay out and take the lead.
There you go. And since passing's such a premium, I would assume this would be a track that maybe is a little easier to defend on. If you maybe had a little older rubber, it might be harder for the new guys to get around you, or not?
It is a tough track to pass on, but fresh tires do mean something because you can't rotate through the corner. The thing you can do when you have the older tires is you have to focus on the center of the corner and corner exit. You've got to come off of that corner as straight as possible and with as much throttle as possible. And a lot of times that means getting into the corner easier. And that makes you a little bit vulnerable to the guys with new tires because we've already seen a lot of contact on corner entry already. If you start to back up that corner a little bit, the guys behind you are probably going to make contact with you. But that's the only line of defense you have. You've got to focus on hitting the bottom of the track through the center of the corner and getting back to that throttle as early as possible.
Good stuff. Love this camera shot. Reminds me of I was at the race right now. And if I was at the race, one of the things you get to do is look through the entire field for the best battles. But right now, my attention would be up front. About a half a car length separates. 3-time champ Eric Stout, 4-time champ Dalton Williamson. Davis has got around Patrick Stout, and we'll see if he can run down the front too. But right now, those two champs are just putting in the laps.
Yeah, there's definitely bragging rights tonight. You know, obviously somebody's going to walk away with the championship. Dalton has a huge lead in the points right now, but it's championship night, and if you're that champion, you want to come away with a win also, just so you can celebrate both. So there's a little bit of bragging rights here. Obviously, Eric Stout, his only goal tonight is to go out and lead as many laps as he can, get the most bonus points, and win the race to just say, I've done everything that I could possibly do to try to win that championship. So both of these drivers want it bad. Sometimes that can lead to a bad situation or some incidental contact that messes both of their nights up.
We're getting lots of suggestions from viewers about potential nicknames for Chris Davis. Suggestions. One comes from Papa Kenny Allen. We get Mr. Passive. All right, we'll take that one. We'll throw that one in the hat.
Oh, and as you say that up front, Soup, I'm starting to see Dalton put the bumper to Eric Stout very gently through the center of the corner, just letting him know, hey, I'm here and I am faster. So We'll see if Eric's got anything in reserve to kind of respond to that, see if he can pull away. But right now, Dalton is all over him.
One of the, I'm not going to say a knock, but one of the comments about Williamson is that while certainly he is very fast, he is not shy, and I know my partner has strong feelings about this, but he's not shy about giving a racing line suggestion with the Nerf bar to the driver in front. We've seen Dalton do it a few times, and in fact, I think a few drivers were able to give him the Nerf bar with a clear conscience because of that reputation. One of them being Kid Lemon Lime, who's not with us tonight.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about racing. I can tell you from a driver that's been both in real life and on the sim side, it's something that every driver has their own code that they live by. There's things that I agree with or don't agree with that other drivers will do the opposite of. At the end of the day, I've always looked at it, if you're somebody that's willing to go out and be aggressive and bump and rub and do those things to make the passes, then it's acceptable for someone to do that to you. So that's kind of the thing I've learned to go by. Absolutely, it's frustrating when somebody drives you a way that you don't like, but at the end of the day, it is racing. There's going to be some contact at some point, and you kind of got to determine is somebody doing it on purpose or not. And if they are, then it's acceptable to do it back.
My dad used to tell me, the tree remembers, the axe forgets. So, a lot of drivers out there have been the tree to certain drivers' axe. The 11th commandment, my director says, race unto others.
Yeah, you can see these two drivers. This shows why they've been the class of the field for a lot of the races. They've won so many of these races. Yeah. They're the top two in points. They are battling it out right now. And I hope everybody can see that on the screen. Dalton is doing everything he can to try to find a way around Eric Stout. And while they're doing this, they're pulling away from the field. They're over a second away from second place right now. And they're actually slowing each other down. I can guarantee you that Eric Stout is driving the car differently to try to protect the corner exit so Dalton can't get underneath him. At the same time, Dalton's doing some lines that's slowing him down, trying to make that move, but they're still pulling away.
Yeah, we pride ourselves as showing the race all through the field, but right now, let's just spend some time and enjoy the expertise of these two guys who are going at it.
Yeah, and it is so difficult to do what they're doing right now at the proximity level that they are. They're so close to each other in the corner. One little mistake would lead to contact that could end one of their nights, and you see contact.
There it is. Oh, and he gets a payback on the spin. Who will survive the best? That time, the tree reached out and hit the lumberjack with a falling branch.
Oh, and it was so slight a contact, but that shows you how on edge these cars are. It does not take much at all to send them around. Stout did a nice job of not completely going around, but like you said, Sue, back in the Dalton, threw him up into the air. The good news, I don't think either one of them have any kind of damage that's going to end their night, but this is crazy contact on the Dalton Williamson side. You can see his wheels are still straight, everything's rolling. I think he's going to be able to continue and be fine.
Oh my goodness, so we have pit stops from a lot of people. My partner talked about Bradley Steffen. There it is. I love it when a strategy works correctly. So, Chris Davis, Jeff Aho stay out. Bradley Steffen, who came in for tires about 35 laps ago, he does not come in. He cycles up to third. Dalton Williamson, after the contact, says, my car's okay, guys. I'll stay out here as well. Everybody else coming in. Both Stouts. Hayden Austin. Jeffrey Souza. Eggs Benedict. Alicia. Ricardo Cano. But partner, some of them to get out of time. We went a lap down. I'm surprised. I guess you can't quick stops here.
Yeah, absolutely. The pace car moves fast. The stops have to happen quickly, and if you're not, if you're in the back of the pack, you're not going to get the job done in time.
And here we go. We are racing again. I wish every race could be at Lanier. Get to my dinner earlier. All right. Well, call him what you want. Chris Davis out in front working with little brother. Bradley Steffen with a little fresher rubber. Now, I've worked a lot with JR, and we're in these. Oh, my goodness, as Davis secures first position. A little bit of bump there. Oh, Stout gets him once, Stout gets him twice. Now Steffen gets him. Now they all pile in. Sneaking through underneath, unscathed, is Dalton Williamson.
Oh, yeah, that collected almost the entire field. Like you said, Dalton was one of the lucky ones that was able to find his way through. But, yeah, just contact between Aho and Davis up front, and then further contact with Steffen, who he's not able to check up. He doesn't know there's something going on until it's too late. And just a huge chain reaction happening there. Eric Stout even in the back of Steffen before all of that. So, big mess here. Nobody's going to get taken out permanently, but a lot of drivers going to lose track position on that one.
Yeah, both Stouts pinned behind Aho. Then Patrick gets upended from the 27. Comes in and gets him. Kevin Alicia.
And you can see coming out of the pits right there was Chris Davis, and yeah, he's going to get caught a lap down there.
Davis just behind the pace car right now. Well, it's what you get when you start thinking about changing your nickname. This kid, you know. This series has a reputation for you're never safe, especially if you're in the lead, and that's 2 cautions in a row, my director points out, that happened up front. All right, well, Dalton Williamson back out in front. Jeffrey Sousa now in second. Pole sitter Hayden Austin on the inside.
Yeah, that last one has completely shaken up the running order. So we've got some drivers who have not been up front all night that are now up there. And these are drivers, like we talked about last race of the season, they want to get a good finish. They're going to be fighting hard here.
All right, we've made it into triple digits lap-wise. The only drivers who were out there on the original set of tires, Williamson and Aho. New rubber, very new rubber for Austin and Sousa. And Stout.
Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit in the past races, Soup. So anytime we get a caution in these SKs, the tire temps come down as you roll around slowly. And these SKs are more about tire temperature than they are tire wear. So the tire temps are nice and good right now. Those drivers who have the old rubber on, they're going to be able to run really fast lap times. Now, after about 10, 15 laps, that's when their car is going to start to get a little bit tighter through the center of the corner. And the drivers with the fresher rubber are going to have the advantage, but it's not a sure pass. We've seen how hard it is to get around some of these guys, so they're still going to have to work hard, but that's when the advantage will start to show up.
Well, Eric Stout in fourth with fresh rubber. If I were a gambling man and several examples of bookies knocking on my front door asking for payment would illustrate that I probably am, I would put my money down on the number 12 back in fourth position. Yeah, his car's been banged up a little bit. But if doing this series has taught me anything, never count out Teapot. Chris Davis is down in 9th position. First car 1 lap down. Ricardo Cano. We don't get a lot of screen time from him. We got a pass for the lead.
Yeah, you see right there, Dalton Wilson, once he got into that outside lane, there is just no grip. And we talked about it, you know, that's around that, 15 lap mark. That's when the tires start to go away if you're on that older rubber. So he's starting to lose some grip, and he's not going to fight hard. He's going to let these other drivers by as soon as they look like they're about to make a move.
Old tires the entire time out there, beginning to pay the price now is Dalton Williamson. Austin, Souza, Stout, and Stout all go around him. Well, he started on the pole. He ran into trouble, fell well down the order. Stayed out of all the nonsense in front of him, and the 32 of Hayden Austin has found himself back out in front. With tires that are 26 laps old and no one in front of him to slow him down. His best friend right now might be Jeffrey Souza in second. Souza, the buffer between Stout Squared, Patrick, and Eric.
Yeah, and I think all of these drivers, you can see Eric's actually starting to fall back a little bit. He's one of them that took tires, so I'm not sure if he's got a little bit of a handling issue from the contact earlier, or if it's just the track changing. But obviously Chris Davis is right there looking to get by, and Chris is not one that runs all of these races. He wants to go out here and get the best finish possible. He's not worried about points, so that's something Stout's got to think about a little bit in this situation.
Davis saying, lucky dog be darned. He's going to try to get his lead lap, get on back in the lead lap the old-fashioned way. He's quick, working on Stout right now. Stout's got to be feeling good. I'm ahead of Dalton Williamson, and now here comes Mr. Passive, Mr. Polite, Mr. Always Be Kind, Chris Davis. Underneath, 3 times. Hello. You can take your new. Here's what you can do with your new nickname, sis. Eric Stout.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of frustration going on tonight, but absolutely Stout, he's running in 4th place, so he feels like a lap car shouldn't be up there racing at least that hard at this point. But Chris is trying to go get his lap back. He feels like he has the speed to do it. I just don't think there's enough laps at this point to be able to do that. He's going to have a caution to get some help.
Yeah. Jeff Aho down in 7th. Happy that Chris Davis is in front of him. Eric Stout suggesting with the Nerf bar on the body of Chris Davis's car what he can do with where he can put that new nickname. Davis now having a nice run. All this going behind Hayden Austin. And we'd be remiss if we didn't give some love. Director, we got to go here. Car number 14. Sorry, car number 51. You'll never find car number 14. Car number 51, Jeffrey Stout. Sorry, Jeffrey Souza. Come on, Soup. Finish the season strong, buddy. Having a great run in 2nd.
Yeah, absolutely. He started back in 14th, so he's come through the field. And while Hayden Austin was turning the fastest laps of the race, that has kind of switched a little bit. So now Souza is turning the fastest laps of the race, and he's starting to close in. We go back to this battle here for the 4th spot. You got Dalton Wilson trying to make that pass on Eric. We saw the contact that happened the last time these two were near each other.
Stout may have more wins. Williamson's been able to string a few together of late. But it would make that championship champagne taste all the more sweeter if Williamson can finish ahead of Stout right now. And that's what the number one does. He gets to the inside. And I got to assume that maybe all the contact that Stout has been in, partner. Stout has fresher rubber. Williamson is on very old tires. Williamson made that pass. I'd imagine maybe the 12 isn't handling quite right.
Yeah, it's one of those things. We talked about from the damage aspect. It didn't look like there was anything that was going to cause them to have their night in. But that kind of contact can knock the toe out of these cars, and that toe plays a big part through the center of the corner on a flat track like this. If that toe of the front tire is knocked out any at all, your car will start to push severely, especially through the center. And if you're pushing through the center, you're not able to get it rotated and get that throttle applied back. So that is going to cost you a lot in lap time, and that's kind of what I'm seeing. Stout is one of those guys that's not able to really keep his car all the way on the bottom.
We have no confirmation of that other than what we're seeing on the track that Stout, based on all things being equal, should be doing better. With that said, Hayden Austin looking good. Got about a 2-car length lead on Jeffrey Souza.
Yeah, he's continuing to hold him off. We talked about Souza being a little bit faster there. It's kind of going back and forth. The one thing I do see is that Hayden is leaving that gap open on corner entry. He's really arcing it in. That's going to be inviting to Souza behind him to try to stick his nose in at some point. So you got to be careful of that in a place like this. But we're coming to the end, so anything can happen, Souza.
Yeah, with apologies to the rest of the field, let's go ahead for these final just over a handful of laps. Let's focus our attention up here on Hayden Austin, because Jeffrey Souza, I love working with my partner because he really gets a feel for the race, and darn it if Souza maybe isn't the quicker of the 2 cars. Although now he begins to drop back a bit, maybe used up a little bit of his stuff. Go back, cool off the tires perhaps, make another run.
Yeah, I can tell you the one thing about Lanier is that you can be faster than that car ahead of you. You can chase them down and catch them. But once you get there, we talked about it tonight, it's so hard to try to set up and make that pass. So the one thing you start doing is you start trying to run a slightly different line. You start trying to move around and see if you can do like an over-under. Find anywhere where there might be some grip and some way to give you extra momentum up out of the corner. And it looked like Souza tried to do that a little while ago, and it cost him a lot of ground. But that's what happens at this place. It's something you feel like there's no way I can lose this race because you're catching everybody so fast. And then once you get there, it's just hard. It's very difficult to make a pass. Usually, it comes from a mistake with the car ahead.
Well, the good news for Hayden Austin is he can't get any racing line suggestions if Jeffrey Souza can't get to him, and there's about a car length difference. 6 corners to go for Hayden Austin. We've talked so much about the history of this series, so many championships between Williamson and Stout, but this guy has come on, he's won races, and he could be the future. Out of the final corner, winning the last race of the season, momentum for next season, Hayden Austin gets the win. Jeffrey Souza with his best finish of the season in second. And it is baby brother Patrick Stout in third. Great race, great season. We here at VGN glad we could bring it to you in its entirety. With that said, we'll take a short break, but we'll come back, run down the finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Don't go far. You're watching the Virtual Grid Network. Welcome back to Lanier National Speedway and the Virtual Group Network's Live as It Happens coverage of the Skitter Creek Modified Series. It's the Season 15 finale, and of course, it's sanctioned by the Red Light Racing League. With that said, the results are in. Let's give them to you right now. Well, he started on the pole and he got the win, but that really doesn't tell the whole story as he led 41 laps, had to go all the way to the back, get to the front. We'll talk about Hayden Austin. We'll talk to him in just a minute. Jeffrey Souza with a great run, 14th to second. Can't wait to see what he has to say. Patrick Stout, little brother of three-time champion Eric, comes home in third. Dalton Williamson, your champion, gets a fourth place finish just ahead of Bradley Steffen. Back half of your top five. Well, it's Eric Teapot Stout, Jeff Aho, a pair of champions, go sixth and seventh. Ricardo Cano with a great run under the radar in eighth. Give him some more screen time next season for sure. Chris Davis in ninth. Running at your top 10 is Bill Benedict.
Yeah, coming home in 11th place tonight. Drivers that did not have a very good night, unfortunately. Josh Buckley, he comes home 4 laps down. Jeff Lemire, 5 laps down in 12th. Kevin Alicia in 13th place. Brian Bianchi, we talked about him coming through the field, getting caught up in a mess late. He comes home in 14th place. Mark Poe caught up in the same mess. He'll come home in 15th place. And Chad Alcaraz will be 16th tonight.
Okay, picking up his second win of the season is Hayden Austin. Hayden, congratulations. Started on the pole. You get the win, but there was a lot of stories between the pole and the finish.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was in last at one point. Yeah, that was a lot to make up for.
A lot of chaos in front of you there and in amongst you when you got back mid-pack. Did you get involved in any, or were you pretty clean?
I was pretty clean. I think I forgot who, but two people spun on the bottom. I was able to pass through them pretty nicely.
Okay, one of the, at least from the commentator point of view, one of the comments we would make about you early on in the season is that you're quick early, maybe used up your tires and didn't have the pace at the end. That seems to have stopped. You seem to be very good, although you were able to get new tires, which kind of helped you a little bit. You getting a feel for this? You feel like you're more competitive than when you started the season?
I think so. This league has really pushed me, and I'm really grateful for it. And yeah, I mean, I think I've definitely improved since the beginning of this season. But yeah, at towards the end, I will say Jeffrey was catching me, so I used
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah, he was. You got just enough ahead of him that he couldn't get the Nerf ball to you, and you were safe. Hey, congratulations! Hopefully, we'll see you next season, man. Congratulations to close it out on a win.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, thank you guys for hosting, and I just want to say, sad day in racing in the racing
Indeed.
community, and so my thoughts and prayers are out to Kyle Busch's friends and family.
Thank you. Double that. Well said, Hayden Austin, race winner today. Okay, partner, who you got?
All right, I got Jeffrey Souza, second place finisher tonight. Hey, Jeff, congratulations on that. But I want to take you back to where you started, all the way back in 14th place. Talk us through how you got through a lot of the carnage that happened tonight and had a shot there at the end.
Yeah, JR, I don't know how I got through it, to be honest. I joined about halfway through the season there, almost to the end of the season, and I felt like for the first few races, it felt like I couldn't get through anything. It felt like every wreck that happened near me, I was somehow involved with. If somebody didn't hold the brake, or net code happened, or whatever was going to happened to me. Finally had a pretty clean race last week, got a good finish out of it at Oxford, and then tonight again, it's like you said, carnage all over the place. First wreck, I think I just spun myself out to not be involved in it, and then a few other ones just lucky, and then that big one that took out a bunch of people. Both me and Hayden just luckily the seas parted and we went through the middle and come out in the top three in second. I'm happy with it.
Absolutely. Got some momentum going for sure to go into that new season. I want to talk you through late in the race. You're kind of chasing down Hayden. He had kind of pulled away a little bit, then you gained back on him. We talked about it through the broadcast. Can you tell the viewers at home how difficult it is to try to make a pass at Lanier, especially in something that's a momentum style car like this SK modified?
Yeah, it was really difficult all night long to really set people up for passes. Even in the back of the field there, where there were times that I felt like I was faster than someone. I'm getting in the corner a little bit less than them. I'm beating them in the middle by a lot. There was a couple times I hit people, not even trying to, just because I was beating them through the middle so much. And at that point, you're beating them through the middle, checking up, and then the guy behind you now has a run on you, so they're looking to your inside. So it was a game of cat and mouse of how much you could really get through the middle without losing time. Obviously, with Hayden there at the end, I didn't have to worry about anybody behind me. It was pretty clear. So I was trying my best to search around. I know you guys could probably tell I was trying a little bit higher, a little bit lower. I got down on that apron within 10 to go there a few times, and I think it just heated up the right rear a little too much. I got loose 1 or 2 times. Lost a little bit of time to him, got back to him, but it seemed like within that car length or two, I just kind of got stuck there. And I haven't been in here long enough to really get tough with anybody, and like I said, I don't really know many people in here so far. I know some guys from the Monday night races, but I'm not going to come in here a few races in and go give anybody the bumper. So I'm more than happy enough to run second with a hard race tonight and come home second to Hayden in the final.
Absolutely a great way to end the season. Hey, man, we look forward to talking to you some more next season. So I don't think it's that far around the corner, but look forward to it. Maybe we'll get to talk to you some more in some interviews.
Yep, sounds good. I just want to say thanks to Susan Media, everyone that works hard over there at Susan Media with the modifieds, big name and modifieds up here in the Northeast, obviously. Triad, Bill Benedict had a tough race tonight, but teammates with me. He's been running for the last 2 seasons, I think. Halfway through this season, I said, hell, I might as well join you. So he roped me into it, as well as Eric allowing me to join up with you guys for the rest of the season this year and then moving forward into next year. So like you said, I look forward to talking to you guys more often next year too, and hopefully contending for a few wins. But again, thanks to everyone in the admin group that let me in, and thanks for you guys that do a great job with the broadcast.
We appreciate it, man. Hey, congratulations on second place tonight, and we'll catch you next season.
10-4, take care.
All right, guys, that was Jeffrey Souza. He's our second place finisher tonight. Soup, who you got?
I got little brother of 3-time champion Eric Stout, who hopefully someday, maybe Eric Stout will be known as the big brother to Patrick Stout. Patrick, congratulations, third place, nice podium.
Hey, thanks, Soup.
Hey, tell us a little bit about the dynamic with you and your brother. You guys are both now, you're not kids anymore. As fate allowed you, do you still live near each other, and do you see each other for like holidays, or what's the dynamic between you two?
Now, I live in Virginia. Eric lives in Massachusetts, so unfortunately, we only get to see each other a couple times a year. But it's definitely special when we do.
Well, you get to meet each other here on the track tonight, and you were racing next to him for a while. Tell us about your race. You raced up front, got back caught up in some stuff there, and was able to salvage a nice podium.
Yeah, it was a weird one. I don't think I had any restarts on the inside. I decided to take tires, thinking maybe that's a gamble that'll pay off. And by the time I got up to third, I just don't think I had anything left in the tank.
It was fun to watch you race. There was one time, I don't know if you noticed, you got stuck behind a car that was perpendicular on the track, and you were up on the outside. You had your brother right on the inside. You guys were right next to you, stuck behind the same car.
Yeah, it was a fun race. Congrats to Dalton. Unfortunate for Eric to not be a champion for 4th time, but there's always next season.
Next season it is. Hopefully we'll see you there too. Congratulations, third place tonight.
Thanks, Soup.
With that said, now, finally, we thank him for waiting, and we apologize as we'll bring him in. We apologize to Dalton Williams for making the champion wait for the end. We really need to change that policy as a reward for winning the championship. You should get to go first, but we like to finish up talking to the champ. Dalton, congratulations on not one, not two, not three, not four, 5th championship, baby.
Yeah, I wanted another win, but It's all good. Yeah, I know you guys caught it on the broadcast, a slight contact. I didn't mean to get into Eric, but I felt like I barely nicked him. I don't know why the car got so upset. Me and Patrick were talking about that, but apologize for that. But all in all, I think the last half of the season I found my speed again, did a lot of work with my wheel, pedals, and all under the sun. So
Indeed, partner.
Yeah, absolutely, Dalton. I want to go into a little bit more detail because I don't think a lot of drivers really realize that. And it's not always about the level of equipment you have, but trying to get that equipment to where it's more suited for you. So talk to them a little bit about that because I think a lot of guys get the impression that the more money they spend, the better it's going to be. But that's not always the case.
yeah, I mean, all in all, it's just force feedback. Pretty much, it's really fine tuning and debating on what wheels you have and telemetry that comes with the wheel. You can do all kinds of crap to see what the car's doing and fix the wheel from there. Pedals are the same way. It depends. I don't want to say it, but it kind of depends. Kind of what you said. It's like real racing. The more money you spend, the more secrets you find. So, I mean, that's the best way I can leave it.
Well, Dalton, they pay me to build drama to keep viewers watching this thing, and it was great to see you come back and reestablish yourself as a champion. Have you done what you needed to do, or are you going to do it again for one more season?
I'm already thinking about number 6. So I'm gonna move on to next year and try to go after him again.
All right. Congratulations. It's been a pleasure to watch you here race, man. We'll look forward to seeing you race next season.
Thank you, like normal. Thank you guys for broadcasting. I would name all the people watching, but there's a whole list. So thanks to the family and friends for watching tonight. Platinum RV Services, Premier Setup Shop, AccuForce, and I think that's it.
Okay. Congratulations on a 5th championship. Looking for a 6-pack next season. Well done. Dalton Williamson, you're a 5-time champion here in the Red Light Racing League. With that said, our broadcast is done. We're going to show you the future broadcasts. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to show you much. Things are kind of slowing down here for a week. And is there anything, Director? He's not putting up a single thing on the screen to tell us what the broadcasts are. Well, all the broadcasts you see on the screen are a production of the Virtual Grip Network. And with that said, we'd like to thank you for watching on behalf of the entire crew. We hope you enjoyed the show. If not, we'll try to do better next time. Until then, have fun storming the castle.